Thanks for joining us. Let's discuss the big news. The new Golden Trio has been found. Walk us through the casting process. Well, it's been 24 years. Believe it or not, the world was introduced to Harry Potter on the big screen. But now the show is being reimagined and reintroduced to a new generation as HBO Max announced it has found 3 newcomers in the roles of Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, and Ron Weasley for its upcoming Harry Potter TV series. Taking over for the original dynamic trio are Dominic McLaughlin as Harry, while Arabella Stanton and Alistair Stout will play Hermione and Ron. The upcoming HBO show is described as a faithful adaptation of the books, and according to reports, multiple seasons of the show are planned following each of the books with the iconic Harry Potter characters on new adventures. The show will stream exclusively on HBO Max. So with all of that said, let's bring in to the Dr. Phil's Merit TV morning show. Let's talk about all things Harry Potter with Rotten Tomatoes certified critic and friend of the show, Sean Chandler. Sean, thanks for joining us. Let's discuss the big news. The new Golden Trio has been found. Walk us through the casting process.
Well, with something like this, how many big, great actors are there that are 10 years old? So you have to search really hard to try and find the right kids. So they looked at over 30,000 kids on this journey, and you have to find someone that captures the character by themselves that feels like a Harry Potter or a Hermione. But then they also have to have great chemistry together, and you have to be thinking, will they be great in the first one, but will they also feel right 8 years from now when they're playing 18-year-old Ron or Harry? And so it's this very involved process of trying to cast the future, but finding great chemistry right now with a very limited pool of people. So you just go very broad. Some people are asking, like, why didn't they go for some bigger names with our child actors? And you just have to stop and think about it. How many big name 10-year-old actors are there on the planet, let alone that are British? It's a very short list. And then amongst that list, if you are a big name child actor, you have the freedom to kind of choose what you want to do. So why would you commit your entire teenage years to doing one TV show? So how many people are 10 years old, big name, British, want to commit all of your teenage years to doing one project, and you want it to be Harry Potter? So it's a very small list of people. So you have to cast the net very, very wide. But then also to that point, what they do for the adult characters is they start to cast bigger names. So you have John Lithgow as Dumbledore, who, of course, has a 50-year-long history in movies and television. He's been nominated for every single acting Oscar acting award that he can be nominated for. You have Nick Frost in here, who's got a 25-year-long career in movies and television. So the big names are kind of thrown at the adult characters where you get a little bit more, where you get a lot of prestige, you get bigger names there. And then they cast a very broad net to try and find our new trio and our child actors.
Well, let's talk about the pressure, Sean. First, the books, successful. The movies, successful. A lot of stake here, success of the books and the original films. A show, though, that will go on for season after season. With that said, what goes into making these casting choices and making sure there is that longevity in the cast, like the books, like the movies?
That is what is so hard about this, is that they knocked it out of the park with the previous version of movies. Just last night, my kids were rewatching Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. 20 years later, they're just as good as they were before. And so you have to be able to capture that magic that also overcomes the hurdle of all the existing fans that are like, I love the previous rendition. And also, is this continuing to be faithful to the books? And so you just have to kind of find the perfect individual and the perfect team of people. But what they tend to do with the casting here is you get unknown child actors, because how many child actors are there out there that will commit to 10 years of making a show like this? And so what they'll do is, for Dumbledore, they cast John Lithgow, who is the established actor that brings prestige to the role. So the big names are the adults, and then try to find the perfect newcomers with the kids to try and balance that out. But man, there's so much pressure to be great.
Okay, let's talk about that pressure. Again, 24 years since they first hit the movie screen, but then the Bics before that. So adults having kids now that are in their middle school years and elementary. Any predictions as what you have seen so far online, reaction from fans that could be involved in this new series and promoted online, of course?
Yeah, I mean, the reaction to people is all over the place. People are naturally protective of what came before. There's skepticism. There's a side of the internet that's like, hey, be critical if you don't like the show, but don't attack the kids. Like the internet can do stuff like that where they target the actor rather than the creative process and the work itself. But the positive thing about this, I think, is that it has been 25 years. That is a long time. And with the books, the first couple were like 300 pages. The later ones were like 600, 700 pages. And so they had to like very simplify the stories, condense things, and montage through things. So by spending a whole season on a book, you can actually tell the full story and fill in the gaps a little bit because each book covers a whole school year. So there's an opportunity to do new things.
Opportunity to do new things. This iconic role, this name continues. Books, movies, now a TV show. Sean Chandler, always a pleasure. Thank you for your insight on this.